welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be doing a draft review. I'm super excited. I got a couple different things to talk about in this video. Gonna come and go over a few things. So, you know what, let's get right into it. This is talking about Sports 1. So our first category has been a biggest steal. This is the three players that I think the teams got the best value out of their pick. So first up, I have Noel Gunler. This is in no particular order, too, by the way. I think, actually, Noel Gunler was the biggest steal of this draft. I had him mocked at 17. Fell all the way to the Hurricanes at 41. We'll talk about their draft later in this video. But, Noel Gunler is just that really great player that brings a lot. And, you know what? That's a really great steal for that scoring touch all the way down at number 41 for the Hurricanes. Great pick. The second player I want to talk about is Connor Zary. I had him mocked at 14. He fell all the way to 24 to the Flames. And Connor Zary is another guy who he played well in the WHL this year. And the Flames were really lucky to getting him as low as they did, considering I thought he was going to be a top 15 type player. So it's a great pickup for the Flames. The last player and the biggest name I want to talk about is Marco Rossi. We all know Marco Rossi. Ottawa 67's 2.14 points per game in the OHL this year, was the CHL leading scorer over Lafreniere. And to get him at 9 isn't so much lower than I had him mocked at, but Minnesota just really capitalized on that chance, and they got him a lot lower than he should have went. Like, there were some players that went before him that didn't really deserve to go before him. So I think just saying Marco Rossi at 9 is just a steal. It's a steal, for sure. Marco Rossi is the third steal. Next category is worst pick. These are the teams that I think got the least value for where they're picking. I'm tending to do these like higher up in the draft because their picks have more value and presence to it. So let's get into it. So the biggest worst pick in this draft for me personally is Jake Sanderson going at number 5 to the Senators. And maybe I could have seen it, but Jamie Drysdale was still on the board, and he went one pick later. Same thing with Holtz, Perfetti, and Rossi. So, man, that just does not seem right to take Sanderson. I feel like if he wasn't a defenseman, he would have went a lot lower in the draft. Earlier on, I didn't see him on anyone's draft board, and then he only climbed up because he was a defenseman. And somehow the Ottawa Senators thought it would be a good idea to take him over Drysdale. So I just don't like the Jake Sanderson pick. Next up is Yegor Shinnikov. And who? I think that was everyone's reaction when he was picked at 21 by the Blue Jackets. Not even on the Hockey News' top 100 board. A complete no-name that somehow went to 21. And maybe in a few years we'll be saying it was a smart pick, kind of like Moritz Seider, but it's not looking too good for the Jackets now. It's Yegor Shinnikov, 21? I don't know. Last up here is Jack Quinn. He was picked by the Sabres 8th overall. Not even because what the placement was. I had him mocked at 11, and he went 8th. But it was who they left to get him, pick him up. Askarov, Rossi, and Perfetti are 3 guys that they definitely could have picked up over Jack Quinn. I think if you ask scouts or fans, 10 out of 10 times they'll say any 3 of those guys are probably better than Jack Quinn. Maybe Perfetti or Askarov, maybe not, but I don't know. It just seems like a bit of a stretch at number 8. It's not even that big of a deal that they took Quinn, but not the best pick. Our next category is the biggest winner from the draft. Do I need to explain it? Just the team that I think had the best draft picks in this draft. Okay, so my first choice for a big winner in this year's draft is the New York Rangers, obviously. And the Alexis Lafreniere pick does enough to get them on here, because obviously they got the best player in the draft with the highest potential. But I'd like to highlight some other picks that they took too. Specifically in the first round, again, Braden Schneider is a very solid defenseman. I think maybe top 5 to 10 defenseman in this draft. And, I think he can actually be quite a good top 4 D in the future. Also, Will Cooley. I think he's a decent scorer. I think he can actually become something one day. Later on in the draft, they took Dylan Garand, who I think actually has a lot of potential as a goalie. And that's about it for the picks that I wanted to highlight. So I think the Rangers overall had a great draft. Next team up for a big winner that I want to highlight is the Carolina Hurricanes. And they didn't really have that top end talent like the Rangers, but they had a deep draft with great prospects. First of all, they took the right player at number 13 with Seth Jarvis. Got the steal of the draft at number 41 with Noah Gunler. We talked about him. Later on, got Ponomarov from the QMJHL and Zion Nybeck, which I think was also a pretty good steal. So I think overall the Hurricanes had a great draft. So the New Jersey Devils are the third team I want to mention. Their first 4 picks were really their strong ones: Holtz, Mercer, Mukama Doolin, and Dawes. So Nico Dawes was a goalie they took later on in the draft. I honestly think he's the second best goalie in this draft, in my opinion. Mukama Doolin, actually, if he can get to his full potential, he's going to be a very, very solid NHL player one day. Their top 2 first-round picks, Dawson Mercer was actually a decent steal at 18. And the big pick, Alexander Holtz, great pick. I love Holtz. I think he's going to be doing great things in the NHL in a few years. Now the biggest loser category. These guys either didn't deliver on their picks or just didn't have that many. The number 1 biggest loser in this draft was the Blue Jackets. They didn't have any good picks later on. And, well, not any great picks later on. And their first-round pick, Yegor Chinakhov, we talked about him, not a smart pick at all. So they're coming in as the biggest loser. As the second loser, it's the Boston Bruins. They didn't really take anyone at all, and they didn't really hit on any other picks, so they didn't have many picks either, so not a very good draft for them. The Coyotes traded their first and had a void second-round pick, so their draft was just third round and below, and it wasn't anyone special either. Our final category is the best/worst trade. So best for one team and worst for the other team. Let's get onto it. The best/worst trade is the Matt Murray for Jonathan Gruden, Joel Blomqvist trade. I honestly, there wasn't even that many bad trades. The Domi for Anderson trade actually happened before the draft, so I can't count it. Believe me, I would. But the other trade is Elias Henderson for a second, but I feel like that was about his value. Joel Blomqvist and Jonathan Gruden is not enough for Matt Murray at all, period. But the circumstances that he might let go in the expansion draft kind of lets it even in a little bit. It's still not that great of a trade, though. So if you made it to this part in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Go check out my other videos. Make sure you leave a like. Subscribe if you want. This has been Talking About Sports 1. Goodbye.